Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that whatever you focus on seems to multiply in your life? It's not a coincidence. It's not magic. It's the power of focus. And today I'm here to tell you that the life you desire is not waiting on luck. It's waiting on you. Everything you experience in life is filtered through the lens of your focus. Your mind is a powerful tool, capable of shaping your reality based on what you choose to concentrate on. If you spend your days fixated on problems, obstacles, and limitations, that's exactly what will dominate your existence. Your focus acts like a magnifying glass. Whatever you direct it toward expands. When you continuously dwell on negativity, struggles, and setbacks, you reinforce them, making them feel larger and more overwhelming than they actually are. The way you interpret the world is a direct reflection of your dominant thoughts. Two people can go through the same situation, but their experiences will be drastically different based on what they focus on. One person sees difficulty as an opportunity to grow, while another sees it as proof that they are doomed to fail. The external circumstance is the same, but the internal response is what determines the outcome. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. If you want to change your life, you must first change what you consistently focus on. Most people don't realize that their reality is not fixed, it's fluid, and it bends according to their dominant thoughts and beliefs. The brain is designed to validate what you already believe to be true. This is known as the reticular activating system, RAS, a mechanism in your brain that filters information based on what you give attention to. If you constantly focus on how hard life is, your RAS will highlight every struggle, every inconvenience, and every reason why things aren't working in your favor. On the other hand, if you train your mind to look for opportunities, solutions, and blessings, your brain will automatically start identifying them all around you. This is why two people can enter the same industry with the same level of skill and yet experience completely different results. One sees nothing but obstacles while the other finds ways to create opportunities. It's not that one person is luckier or more talented than the other. It's simply that their mental focus dictates their perception. Your brain is constantly scanning for evidence to support what you already believe. So the question is, what are you programming it to look for? Are you focusing on why things won't work, or are you focusing on how you can make them work? People who achieve greatness in life are not the ones who had an easy path. They are the ones who train themselves to focus on progress rather than problems. They see setbacks as setups for a greater comeback. They refuse to give their energy to distractions, negativity, or fear. Instead, they keep their eyes locked on the vision of where they want to go. This is not just positive thinking, it's a disciplined approach to life that keeps them moving forward regardless of circumstances. Your focus is not just mental, it dictates your energy and actions. When you constantly think about what you don't want, you unknowingly sabotage yourself. If you believe you're not good enough, you will hesitate, procrastinate, and shrink in moments that require confidence. But when you shift your focus towards success, growth, and learning, you start taking bolder actions that align with the future you desire. Every decision you make, every step you take, is a result of what you have been focusing on. The challenge most people face is that they allow their focus to be hijacked by external distractions. Social media, negative news, other people's opinions, these all fight for your attention daily. If you are not intentional about controlling your focus, the world will control it for you. Your mental energy is like currency. Where you invest it determines what you receive in return. If you constantly spend it on distractions, drama, and negativity, don't be surprised when your life reflects those things. But if you invest it in personal growth, learning, and solutions, you will start seeing extraordinary results. Your focus is your most valuable asset, and you must guard it fiercely. If you want to change your life, you must first master the art of directing your attention toward the things that serve you. Every day you are presented with a choice to focus on what empowers you or to focus on what drains you. Your future is being created right now, not by circumstances, but by what you choose to concentrate on. Complaining is one of the most destructive habits a person can develop because it keeps them trapped in a cycle of negativity. When you complain, you reinforce the very problems you say you want to escape. Instead of searching for solutions, your mind becomes fixated on the issue, making it feel larger and more overwhelming than it actually is. The more you talk about what's wrong, the more your brain seeks out additional proof that things are not working in your favor. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, one where you remain stuck, not because of external circumstances, but because of the way you are perceiving them. Every time you complain, you are strengthening a mindset of powerlessness. You are subconsciously telling yourself that you have no control over your situation, that you are at the mercy of circumstances, and that things will never improve. This belief system not only affects the way you think, but also dictates the way you act. People who complain frequently develop a habit of inaction because they convince themselves that no effort will change their situation. They become paralyzed by their own words, reinforcing their own suffering instead of taking steps toward a solution. The mind is always listening to what you say. When you repeatedly complain about something, your subconscious mind begins to accept it as truth. If you constantly say, "I never get a break," your mind will seek out evidence to support that statement, ignoring any opportunities that contradict it. If you say, "Nothing ever works out for me," you will unconsciously make choices that lead to failure because your brain is wired to confirm your beliefs. Complaining is not just an emotional release. It is a form of mental programming that shapes your future experiences. What makes complaining even more dangerous is that it spreads like wildfire. Negativity loves company, and when one person starts complaining, others quickly join in. A single complaint can turn into an entire conversation centered around problems, reinforcing a culture of dissatisfaction and stagnation. People who surround themselves with chronic complainers often find their own mindset shifting toward negativity, even if they weren't originally inclined to think that way. The more you engage in complaining, the more it becomes your default mode of thinking, making it harder to break free from the habit. Most people don't realize that their energy follows their words. Complaining drains your mental and emotional resources, leaving you exhausted and frustrated. The more time you spend talking about problems, the less energy you have left to actually solve them. Instead of using your thoughts and words to create solutions, you waste them reinforcing the issue. This is why some people stay stuck in the same problems for years. They are so focused on voicing their frustrations that they never take the time to shift their attention to possible ways forward. The biggest trap of complaining is that it provides a temporary sense of relief without requiring any real change. People complain because it allows them to vent their frustrations, but the problem is that venting alone does nothing to solve the issue. It can even make things worse by deepening a sense of victimhood. Instead of viewing challenges as opportunities to grow, chronic complainers begin to see themselves as helpless. They unknowingly condition themselves to believe that external forces are in control of their lives rather than recognizing their own ability to take action. What you focus on expands, and complaining ensures that your problems remain the center of your attention. Instead of finding ways to improve your situation, you keep feeding it with more energy. The more you talk about what's wrong, the more you reinforce its presence in your life. Problems that could have been temporary become permanent because you keep reliving them in your mind. Complaining is like watering a weed. It keeps growing stronger the more you nourish it with your attention. People who are constantly complaining often fail to recognize that their circumstances are not the problem, their mindset is. Two people can go through the exact same hardship, yet one will rise while the other remains stuck. The difference is in how they choose to respond. The person who refuses to complain and instead focuses on solutions will always find a way forward. The person who gives in to complaining will remain where they are, not because they have to, but because they have trained their mind to see obstacles instead of opportunities. Success is never an accident. It is the direct result of what you expect from yourself and your life. The way you see yourself and your potential determines the level of success you will achieve. People who expect to win approach life differently from those who expect to struggle. They think differently, speak differently, and act differently because their internal belief system tells them that success is not just possible. Expectation shapes behavior, and behavior produces results. When you truly believe that you are capable of achieving great things, You begin to take the actions necessary to bring that belief to life. Expectation is a force that operates beneath the surface, directing your choices in ways you may not even realize. A person who expects to succeed will walk into a room with confidence, seek out opportunities, and take bold action. A person who expects to fail will hesitate, second-guess themselves, and retreat at the first sign of resistance. The difference between these two people is not their level of intelligence, talent, or resources. It is the expectation they carry within them. Your mind will always find a way to prove your beliefs right. So if you expect to succeed, your brain will filter out distractions and focus on possibilities. Many people sabotage their own success because they do not expect to win. They may say they want success, but deep down, they carry doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that hold them back. They expect difficulty, so they prepare for failure instead of preparing for victory. They hesitate when they should act. They play small when they should go big, and they settle for less when they should demand more. Expectation is not just a thought, it is a mindset that controls everything from body language to decision making. If you don't expect to win, you won't take the necessary risks. And without risks, success is impossible. Your expectations create a powerful energy that influences how others perceive you. When you expect success, you exude confidence, certainty, and conviction, qualities that attract opportunities and people who can help you along the way. When you expect to struggle, you give off hesitation, insecurity, and doubt, which repel the very things you need to succeed. The world responds to the energy you put out, and that energy is driven by your expectation. You cannot fake belief. If you do not truly expect success, your actions and words will reflect that, even if you try to hide it. Expectation is not about wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is about aligning your mindset with your actions. People who expect success do not sit back and hope for the best. They move with purpose, work with intensity, and refuse to settle for anything less than what they envision. They do not make excuses, and they do not wait for the perfect conditions to take action. They understand that their expectations must be backed by effort, and because they believe in the outcome, they are willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. The most successful people in the world do not achieve greatness by accident. They start with an unshakable belief that success is their destiny. They train their minds to see possibilities where others see obstacles. They expect to find solutions, so they do. They expect to meet the right people, so they attract them. They expect to win, so they play the game of life with confidence and conviction. Even when they fail, they see failure as temporary because their expectation of success is so deeply ingrained that setbacks do not shake their belief in their ultimate victory. What you expect determines what you tolerate. People who expect wealth do not settle for financial struggle. People who expect health do not tolerate an unhealthy lifestyle. People who expect happiness do not allow negativity to take root in their minds. Your expectations set the standard for your life. And if you want a higher level of success, you must raise the level of what you expect from yourself. The reason most people never achieve more is that they never expect more. They accept what life gives them instead of demanding what they truly want. Expectation is the seed from which all success grows. Every great achievement begins in the mind of someone who believed it was possible. Before a championship is won, the athlete expects victory. Before a fortune is made, the entrepreneur expects profit. Before a dream becomes reality, the visionary expects success. The people who create extraordinary lives are not the ones who simply hope for better. They are the ones who expect it, pursue it relentlessly, and refuse to accept anything less. Your mind is the control center of your life. Every action you take, every decision you make, and every result you experience begins in your thoughts. The way you think determines the way you behave, and the way you behave determines the outcome of your life. If you believe you are capable of success, you will approach challenges with confidence and determination. If you believe you are destined to fail, you will hesitate, second-guess yourself, and allow opportunities to pass you by. The quality of your thoughts directly influences the quality of your results. Most people don't realize that their mind is constantly creating their reality. Every time you think about something, you are reinforcing a belief that shapes your perception of the world. If you tell yourself that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, or not lucky enough, Your mind will accept those statements as truth. It will then work to prove them right by filtering out opportunities and highlighting obstacles. Your subconscious mind is always listening, and it will manifest whatever you consistently tell it. Whether you feed it thoughts of success or thoughts of failure, it will bring those thoughts to life in your reality. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, your life will be filled with struggle and frustration. If you plant seeds of confidence, belief, and determination, you will harvest success and achievement. The problem is that most people allow weeds to take over their mental garden. They entertain negative thoughts, dwell on past failures, and surround themselves with people who reinforce their limitations. Without realizing it, they are cultivating a mindset that guarantees mediocre results. Your external circumstances are nothing more than a reflection of your internal mindset. People who achieve greatness do not do so because they are lucky or gifted. They do so because they have conditioned their minds to expect and pursue excellence. They do not allow doubt to take root, and they do not entertain thoughts that weaken their confidence. Instead, they train themselves to focus on possibilities, solutions, and opportunity. They understand that the battle for success is won or lost in the mind long before it is won or lost in the real world. The way you interpret challenges is determined by your mental programming. Two people can face the same obstacle, yet one will see it as an opportunity while the other sees it as a dead end. The difference is not in the situation itself, but in the way their minds are wired to process it. The person with a growth mindset will look for ways to overcome the challenge, while the person with a fixed mindset will assume defeat before even trying. This is why success is not determined by circumstances, but by the way you choose to think about those circumstances. Your mind also determines the level of effort you put into achieving your goals. If you believe that success is possible for you, you will push yourself harder, stay committed longer, and refuse to give up when things get tough. If you believe that your efforts are pointless, you will find reasons to quit, procrastinate, and make excuses. Your mind sets the standard for how much you are willing to work, how much you are willing to risk, and how much you are willing to endure in the pursuit of your goals. It is the single most powerful factor in determining your level of success. The people you surround yourself with play a major role in shaping your mindset, which in turn shapes your results. If you spend time with people who complain, doubt themselves, and settle for less, their mindset will rub off on you. You will begin to adopt their way of thinking, and before you know it, your results will reflect their level of belief. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who think big, take bold action, and refuse to accept mediocrity, their mindset will elevate yours. Your environment feeds your mind, and your mind feeds your reality. Everything you want in life begins with the way you think. If you want better results, you must first develop a better mindset. You must take control of your thoughts, eliminate limiting beliefs, and reprogram your mind for success. The moment you change the way you think, you will change the way you act. And when you change the way you act, you will change the results you produce. Your past is nothing more than a collection of experiences, decisions, and events that have brought you to this moment, but it does not have the power to dictate where you go next. Too many people allow their past failures, mistakes, and disappointments to become the ceiling that limits their future potential. They replay old memories of loss and regret, convincing themselves that they are stuck in a cycle that cannot be broken. But the truth is, your past only has as much power as you give it. The moment you decide that your past will no longer control your future, you begin to take back control of your life. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has had a past filled with struggles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not the absence of failure, but the decision to not be defined by it. Your past mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. Your past pain is fuel, not a prison. The only thing that matters is what you choose to do with the experiences you have lived through. Will you allow them to weaken you, or will you use them as the foundation for a stronger, wiser, and more powerful version of yourself? People often hold on to their past because they have attached their identity to it. They say things like, I've always been this way, or this is just who I am. But identity is not fixed. It is created and recreated by the choices you make every day. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, 1 year ago, or even yesterday. Every new decision you make is an opportunity to redefine yourself. You are not obligated to be the person you were when you made past mistakes. You are free to grow, evolve, and become someone completely different. One of the biggest lies people believe is that their past failures mean they are not capable of success. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary step toward it. The most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed the most because they refused to let failure define them. Instead of allowing their past losses to break them, they use those experiences to learn, adjust, and come back stronger. The only true failure is allowing your past to convince you that your future is hopeless. Many people also allow the opinions of others to keep them tied to their past. They feel trapped by labels, judgments, and expectations placed on them by family, friends, or society. But no one else gets to define who you are or what you can become. Just because someone sees you a certain way does not mean you have to accept that version of yourself. People will always try to remind you of who you used to be, but it is your job to remind yourself of who you are becoming. The only person who gets to decide your future is you. Some people stay stuck in their past because they have built an emotional home there. They relive painful memories, holding on to resentment, guilt, or shame that keeps them from moving forward. But carrying the weight of your past does not change it. It only keeps you from stepping into a better future. Forgiveness, both of yourself and others, is one of the most powerful tools for breaking free. The moment you decide to release the past, you create space for new possibilities to enter your life. Letting go is not about forgetting. It is about refusing to let yesterday steal the potential of today. Your future is too valuable to be sacrificed for the sake of your past. Every day you wake up with a new opportunity to rewrite your story. No matter what has happened before, you have the power to decide what happens next. The past is only relevant if you continue to carry it with you. The moment you shift your focus from what was to what can be, you open the door to endless opportunities. The only thing standing between you and the future you want is your willingness to move forward without the weight of yesterday holding you back. You were not put on this earth to be trapped by the limitations of your past. Everything you have been through has prepared you for this moment, but it does not define what comes next. The same way a storm does not define the sky after it passes, your past does not define the person you are becoming. You have the power to break free, to rise above, and to create a future that is greater than anything you have experienced before. Excuses are the silent killers of potential. They disguise themselves as valid reasons, but in reality, they are nothing more than self-imposed limitations that keep people from reaching their highest level of success. Every time you make an excuse, you are choosing comfort over growth, settling for mediocrity instead of striving for excellence. Excuses are seductive because they remove the burden of responsibility. They allow people to justify their lack of progress instead of confronting the truth that they are in control of their own outcomes. But the truth remains the same. Excuses do not change circumstances. They only keep you stuck in them. The most dangerous thing about excuses is that they feel real. People convince themselves that their lack of time, lack of resources, or lack of experience is a legitimate barrier, when in reality, those are just convenient stories they tell themselves to avoid taking action. There are people who have built empires with fewer resources, achieved greatness despite overwhelming odds, and turned their weaknesses into strengths. The difference between them and those who remain stuck is that they refuse to let excuses dictate their destiny. The moment you stop looking for reasons why you can't and start focusing on how you can, everything changes. Excuses rob people of the chance to discover what they are truly capable of. Every time you make an excuse, you give away a piece of your power. Instead of taking control of your future, you place it in the hands of external circumstances. Success does not come to those who wait for perfect conditions. It comes to those who take action despite imperfect circumstances. The people who achieve the most in life are not the ones with the easiest path, but the ones who refuse to be stopped by obstacles. Excuses are simply walls that you build in your own mind. And once you recognize that, you can tear them down. One of the most common excuses people make is that they are not ready. They tell themselves they need more time, more knowledge, or more confidence before they take action. But the reality is, no one ever feels completely ready. Readiness comes from doing. Confidence is built through action, not the other way around. Waiting until you feel ready is just another form of procrastination disguised as preparation. The people who win in life are the ones who start before they are ready, who step out in faith even when they feel uncertain, and who figure things out along the way. Another deadly excuse is blaming circumstances. People say they can't succeed because of where they were born, their past mistakes, or the challenges they face. While it is true that some people start with disadvantages, it is also true that countless individuals have risen above difficult circumstances to create extraordinary lives. The difference is mindset. Those who succeed refuse to see their background as a curse. They see it as fuel. They use their hardships as motivation rather than an excuse to stay where they are. No matter where you start, you have the power to change your destination. Excuses also destroy momentum. Every time you justify inaction, you reinforce the habit of doing nothing. Success requires consistent effort, and excuses interrupt that momentum. When people allow excuses to take hold, they stop pushing forward, stop striving for improvement, and stop taking risks. The longer they stay in that mindset, the harder it becomes to break free. Excuses create a comfort zone that feels safe, but is actually a prison, trapping people in a cycle of unfulfilled potential. Breaking free requires the willingness to take action, no matter how uncomfortable or uncertain it may feel. One of the greatest lies excuses tell you is that you have time. People assume they can start tomorrow, next week, or next year, but time is the one resource you can never get back. Every moment spent making excuses is a moment lost forever. The longer you wait, the more regret you accumulate. People look back on their lives, not regretting the things they tried and failed at, but the opportunities they never took because they talked themselves out of them. The time to act is always now, because waiting will never create the success you desire. Excuses may provide temporary comfort, but they come at the cost of long-term success. The moment you stop allowing yourself to make excuses, you open the door to limitless possibilities. You realize that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. Every successful person had reasons to quit, but they chose to push forward anyway. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who do not is simple. One group makes progress and the other makes excuses. Abundance is not something you chase. It is something you attract by becoming a person of value. Wealth, success, and opportunities do not just appear out of nowhere. They are drawn to those who understand the power of delivering value. The marketplace does not reward need, desperation, or entitlement. It rewards contribution. The more value you create, the more abundance will flow into your life. People who live in lack operate from a mindset of scarcity, always focused on what they don't have. But those who live in abundance understand that value creation is the key to unlocking unlimited potential. A value-driven mindset is the foundation of sustainable success. It is not about taking, it is about giving. When you shift your focus from what can I get to how can I serve, you position yourself as a person of significance. The most successful entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers are those who solve problems, meet needs, and make a difference in the lives of others. They do not wait for opportunities. They create them by delivering massive value. Money is simply a byproduct of value. And the more you increase your ability to solve problems, the more financial abundance will come your way. Scarcity thinking keeps people trapped in the belief that there is not enough to go around. They fear competition, resist sharing knowledge, and operate from a mindset of limitation. But abundance-minded individuals understand that the more they give, the more they receive. They see opportunities where others see obstacles, and they recognize that wealth is not finite, it expands as more value is created. The richest people in the world did not hoard resources, they built systems, products, and services that benefited millions. Their wealth is a reflection of the value they have provided to society. People who embrace a value-driven mindset never worry about running out because they know they can always create more. They do not fear losing money, business, or clients because they understand that as long as they continue to offer value, abundance will follow. They invest in themselves, develop their skills, and seek ways to improve the lives of others. Instead of chasing money, they focus on becoming the type of person who naturally attracts it. Money flows to those who deserve it, and those who deserve it are the ones who consistently deliver value. Your level of income will always be a reflection of the level of value you provide. If you want to increase your income, do not focus on demanding more. Focus on becoming more. Develop rare and valuable skills, deepen your expertise, and find ways to serve people at a higher level. When you solve bigger problems, you attract bigger rewards. The world does not pay for effort. It pays for results. People do not care how hard you work. They care about the impact you create. The greater your impact, the greater your income. A value-driven mindset also eliminates the fear of competition. People with a scarcity mindset see others as threats, believing that someone else's success takes away from their own. But those who operate in abundance know that competition is irrelevant when you bring unique value to the table. There is no shortage of success, only a shortage of people willing to do what it takes to earn it. Instead of worrying about what others are doing, focus on how you can become so valuable that people cannot ignore you. The more you develop yourself, the less competition matters. The most abundant people in the world are also the most generous. They understand that value is not just about money, it is about impact. They share their knowledge, mentor others, and invest in relationships because they know that giving creates a cycle of abundance. The more they pour into others, the more opportunities come back to them. Abundance is not about taking as much as you can. It is about creating a system of value that continues to multiply. When you give freely without fear, you prove to yourself that you operate in abundance, and abundance responds by flowing into your life. Living in abundance requires a complete mindset shift. It is about realizing that you are never limited by external circumstances, only by your ability to create value. The moment you stop focusing on lack and start focusing on contribution, you will see doors open that you never knew existed. Abundance is not about luck or chance. It is a direct result of the value you bring to the world. The biggest separator between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence, talent, or even resources. It is the ability to decide and take action. Most people spend their lives stuck in indecision, waiting for the perfect moment, overanalyzing every possibility and hesitating until the opportunity passes them by. They convince themselves that they need more time, more knowledge, or more certainty before making a move. But the truth is, hesitation is the enemy of success. Those who achieve great things understand that success is not about knowing everything in advance. It is about making a decision and moving forward with conviction. Every moment you delay a decision is a moment you push your success further away. Indecision is a thief. It steals time, energy, and opportunities, leaving you trapped in the same place while others move ahead. People who refuse to decide end up stuck in cycles of frustration, always wondering why their circumstances never change. The reality is that nothing changes until you do. If you want different results, you must be willing to make bold decisions and take immediate action. Success does not come to those who wait. It comes to those who move with urgency. Waiting for the right time is an illusion. There will never be a perfect time, and if you keep waiting for one, you will waste years of your life standing still. Conditions will never be ideal, and there will always be challenges, risks, and uncertainties. The people who make the biggest impact in the world are not the ones who had perfect conditions. They are the ones who decided to move forward despite the uncertainty. They trust that they will figure things out along the way, and they refuse to let fear paralyze them. Fear of failure is one of the biggest reasons people hesitate to make decisions. They worry about making the wrong choice, facing rejection, or looking foolish. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey to success. Every successful person has failed more times than they can count. The difference is that they did not let failure stop them. They used it as a stepping stone. When you decide and take action, you will make mistakes. But every mistake brings a lesson that moves you closer to your goal. The only real failure is never starting at all. Massive action is the cure for doubt and procrastination. When you take action, you build momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Many people struggle with self-doubt, questioning whether they have what it takes to succeed. But confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action. The more you do, the more capable you become, the more confident you feel. Success is a cycle that begins with a single decision to take action. The faster you start, the faster you grow. People who struggle with decision-making often overcomplicate things. They believe that every decision is final, that one wrong move will ruin everything, and that they must have absolute certainty before taking action. But success is not about making perfect choices. It is about making a choice and then making it work. Most decisions can be adjusted, refined, or corrected along the way. What matters is not getting everything right the first time, but being willing to course correct as you go. Taking imperfect action is always better than taking no action at all. Opportunities have an expiration date. The longer you wait, the fewer options you have. Many people look back on their lives with regret, not because they tried and failed, but because they never tried at all. The world is full of people who had great ideas, big dreams, and incredible potential, but never acted on them. They let fear, doubt, and hesitation hold them back, and now they live with the painful realization that they could have done so much more. The difference between those who live with regret and those who live with success is simple. One group took action and the other did not. When you make a decision and take action, you send a message to yourself and the world that you are serious about success. You prove to yourself that you are not just a dreamer, but a doer. You separate yourself from the masses who talk about what they want but never do anything about it. The world does not reward wishful thinking. It rewards those who move forward with courage and commitment. The faster you decide, the faster you grow. The faster you take action, the faster you achieve results.